What does loyalty mean to you and why it's so important?
Really about loyalty to me. It's when I teach and I share a lot of the information about remote viewing, I do it because it's what I know remote viewing is. Uh, I'm the only viewer out of the program that spent the entire time in the Stargate program. I was first one recruited. I turned the lights out when it ended in 1995. So I'm also the only one that went to Stanford Research Institute International after I retired from the Army in order to learn the science side.
Mhm.
I and that there was one other person, a young lady who did the same. She went to Stanford as well. The difference between us is she did that for the length of time that the program was still running. So it was around 1990 to 95. So she had 5 years in the science side. So that I love the fact that she did that because it made her even better.
Mhm.
She understood the need to understand the remote viewing, the scientific reasons why it works and why it happens. And so, but I spent 5 years at Stanford, and when they shut it down at Stanford, moved it to Science Applications International Corporation, I went with it. So I
Mhm.
stayed another 7.5, 8 years, and at it there. And then when they closed the program, I went with the science to Laboratories for Fundamental Research in Palo Alto, and I was connected there, golly, uh, until about the same time I stopped my martial arts, which was a year and a half ago. So I was intimately involved in the science side, and for 28, 28 years. It's
Mhm.
either 28 or 30. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. But so I had three times the amount of time in the science side that I had on the collection side, but I was on the collection side from beginning to end. So I have a lot of experience. Plus, I started my own company when I retired from Fort Meade in the Army. I a year later, my wife and I created a company called Intuitive Intelligence Applications, and we incorporated in the state of Virginia. And that company existed also up until about 2 years ago. So that was a company that existed 41 years.
Mhm.
And through that company, I gave support to I don't know how many police departments, sheriff's departments, missing persons, missing children, a lot of missing children, uh, and all the crime and that sort of stuff. But I also continued giving support to at least six of the major intelligence agencies in America. So I've been a remote viewer for almost 50 years, 48 or 49 years, fulfilling that same role that I began with in the Stargate program. So a lot of people don't know that. Um, and I'd like to say that my remote viewing got a whole lot better. Uh, it, it's the reason why I like talking about it is because it's a skill set. It is like a martial art of the mind.
Mhm.
And over all those years, my viewing improved not only measurably, but enough that I now have a one of a kind display in the Unclassified Museum of the National Security Agency for one of my viewings. It was about as near perfect as one could produce a remote viewing. And compared to when I started, you can really see the difference. I mean, it's
Mhm.
classic. Um,
Mhm.
so in teaching it, I try to give the, the best concepts of how to do it that I can produce because I want people who want to be a remote viewer, want to experience remote viewing. I want them to experience it in the way it's actually done, is in a way that when you come to understand what the experience is, it changes you profoundly forever. You never can go back.
Right.
Uh, and because it changes you forever, it also affects your humanity, your ethics, your morality,
Right.
everything.
Yes.
And and I think that's better than the remote viewing part. Believe it
Right.
or not,
Right.
for me it is. It
Yeah.
it it makes everybody a better person.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I
It's
can't take
actually.
credit for that. I got to blame the martial art of this.